How's it going, guys? Mail here at BigRia.com. How does this one web page, not one website, just one web page. How does this one web page make me $5,000 to $10,000 a week? This is a quote from Anna. Today we're going to show you how to do that, how this works, how this one web page is making me $5,000 to $10,000 a week. This page requires no marketing, can be set up and run entirely for free, and you can do it in the next 5 minutes. How does that sound? The Big Ria guide to the public Rolodex model. This is super cool. We've talked about this in different places, different classes and stuff. Today I'm going to go over exactly how to set this up. This is one web page. This is really a pretty cool thing. You want to pay attention to this. It's super simple to set up. You can do it in any business and make all kinds of really cool things happen. Plus, how the same page can lead to $100,000 a month with no extra work. So do you want to know how to do that? Do you want to know how to set up one web page that makes you $5,000 to $10,000 a week? If only I gave you the actual web page so you could model after it. My goodness, I did that. Check it out. Public Rolodex model, bigria.com/people. You can go there. You can check it out. Basically, here's how it works. You make a list of professionals in any given industry or any area. So take an example of any industry, any business that you're in, and start making a list of all the people, the best people in that market, and just put that in one area where people can use it and they can access it. Make this a truly helpful resource for people in that business. Constantly follow up and make sure people are loving what they get. A self-serve. Some real estate folks can make a full-time income from that page alone following protocol. So once we set up that bigria.com/people, you can go check that page out. It's just a list of real estate people in Indiana and in the Midwest. And then there's a separate training that Anna had made on how to use that page. Different ways that people can and are using that page to create a side, like a part-time and a full-time income that they're using that page to do. They're just like, it's a self-serve. So you can go to that page and you can put deals together. So here's an example. So they can find contractors who need money. So if you go to that page, bigria.com/people, have I said that enough yet? Go to that page. You can find contractors on that page who need to find money, and you can help them find money, because then you can go to private money lenders on that page, hard money lenders on that page, who have shaky investors or investors who ran out of money and who need work. That's another way. So a self-serve, remember, a self-serve is when one group of people serves both sides of the transaction. And this is super cool because people are able to go there, they're able to use that page. It's updated about once a week. They're able to go to that page and they can put deals together just by contacting people and saying, hey, I'm a friend of Indiana, and I just want to help you out. I just want to. There's different scripts and stuff we've provided, but basically, you can go to that page. Let's say you want to find a contractor. Hey, how's it going? Just want to see if you need help with any money or any work, or what I could do to help you, just like a GXM. And what you're doing is you're going to find another resource on that page that you can use and connect a contractor with. Contact the hard money people, find a resource on that page that you can connect them with. And then if there's a resource that's not on that page, you let Anna know, and then we start screening people for that page. They can also have contractors bring them deals and get them the money they need to do the deal. So this is another way of using that page. A lot of these contractors, one of the simplest, best ways to find motivated sellers, quote unquote, to do deals is to have contractors who don't have money or don't think they have the money. Have those contractors, they're out in these neighborhoods anyway. They have to trust these people, have them actually bring deals to you and get these deals done. So you can contact these contractors and say, hey, listen, if you have a deal, I can help get funding on it, or I can buy the deal, me or one of my investors, or I can help fund that deal and then hire you for the work, and then you get in touch with the hard money lender to get the money to do those deals. All this stuff we've talked about, 5 or 10 different self-serves that we've done classes on. All basically this page, when you go to that bigria.com/people page, that people page, we also give, what she gives the investors is, look, if you want to make here's 5, 10 ways you can use this page to make money to make a part-time income. So it's really cool because people are using it for that. It's not just for real estate. Take your ideal. So here's the process that we've been going through. I started this a while ago, and we had this model, and we've been snowballing it, and now it's really taken off, and it's really a powerful thing that anybody can do. So you take your ideal target. Think about who your ideal target is, right? Who's the person you want compliance from, right? And then you put together a page that will help them do just about anything that they want and that they regularly need help with. So we do this with car dealers, for example. What does a car dealer want? They need people coming in that need offers on cars. They need a list of buyers. They need places where they can get auctions, they can get inventory from, auction cars that don't won't sell, that they need rock bottom prices on. That also, body shops, auto repair shops, detailers, collectors, bad credit lenders, good credit lenders. This is a list that a car dealer. So we're in the car dealer. If you guys know, Anna has some of our heroes also have different interest with car dealers. We've been working a lot with car dealers because car dealers in real estate is one of the only industries, the only two industries really where the leads advertise, right? Somebody advertises, hey, I got a car for sale. And leads in real estate advertise, we've got a house for sale. So the reason why it's so easy to make money in real estate is because the transaction size, but also the leads advertise. It's one of the only industries where the leads advertise. So as we're getting in touch with the car dealers and we want compliance with car dealers, there's another page we have for car dealers. We've put together a public Rolodex model for that. Medical field, this is what we start doing with that. If we want doctors and office managers, we want compliance with them, what do they want? They want buyers of medical clinics. They want equipment providers. They want financiers who can help you get finance to buy new equipment or can help you get favorable terms. Advertisers, right? This is a whole other area that we've worked at. Referrals, consultants, all kinds of people that we've worked with. The main thing to look at is you get your target person like an office manager, and what do they normally need to do? What are the fires that they have to put out every day? And start making a list of people that can help them, and then start doing the process I'm going to go over in a second. And what happens is that in your little internal community, your page becomes one of the most used pages. I'm going to go over the exact traffic numbers that she has on this page. It's pretty cool because, by the way, real quickly, I never mentioned this page, the bigria.com/people. It was never mentioned on Big Ria or in the videos or anywhere. That's important because with each of these experiments we've been doing, we want to see how you can create like a manufactured virality or virality, make it go viral, like, through input. Another example we've used this is schools, education, law. We've done this with law firms, doing this education with different schools. We're doing this with the whole education, like online education, especially now with like e-learning, stuff like that. So we have a list of like legal challenges, things that we've been using to help people. If you guys are familiar with our law battles, our legal battles that we've been doing overseas to help like things like, child slavery and stuff like that. So we get a list of legal challenges, local international attorneys that can come in and give depositions and can connect, get witness statements and that are willing to help basically crowdsourcing work, case filings, legal templates, homies, like Indiana homies, but like regular homies who can help when called, other success stories that you can model after, all kinds of things. So if we're talking to a school or we're talking to some education group or we're talking to somebody who wants to, right now, like with our special needs, a lot of our stuff overseas, especially, some of these, we're starting curriculum totally from zero because they never had a curriculum based on special needs. So first we have to go through the diagnosis process. And so we've got a whole page that we list all the diagnoses, all people that you can talk to. And we get in touch with each of the people and say, listen, someone might be calling you from overseas. It might be like Zoom or Skype or a very shady line. And what we're looking for is, help on diagnosing different special needs. And then we look at, okay, now that we've diagnosed it, what would be how do we get them to read? Is it possible? Is there a process that we go through based on their specific handicap or mental illness or whatever that we can come up with a curriculum specifically for them? In America, it's called the IEP, Individualized Education Program or Protocol, but very few countries outside of America have that. So what I'm talking about right now is not something we have established. Basically, like right now we have one of our heroes is doing a program in Bangladesh. We have the largest, I believe, I don't know for sure yet, the largest special needs diagnosing organization in Bangladesh. And it's about 11 people now that we're just adding to our Rolodex every day. We're saying, okay, what is the issue we has? We don't know what it's called. Maybe it's like Down syndrome and that stuff is easy, but some other ones are very hard to identify. So we make a list of the characteristics. Then we get in touch. They go back to our page, our Rolodex page. They get in touch with a doctor or a professional or a nurse or someone who has specifically said, call me when you see these types of conditions. And then they can help them get in touch with somebody else. Or, you need to call this doctor over at that university. We contact that doctor and then we add to our Rolodex. You get what I'm saying? So what happens, it becomes that snowball effect where it gets bigger and bigger and bigger and more helpful. And now other people, particularly in Bangladesh now, across the country are using that page because every time we have some new symptoms or new conditions or new handicaps or whatever, they can, you get what I'm saying? It just becomes It's a really cool thing. It's really a powerful concept, and I never realized that those are examples that are outside of real estate. In real estate, it's super simple. Just go to the big, like you can just verbatim copy what's on there, which nobody in your market will do. They will do what some RIAs do, like a real estate investor association. They do this stuff where they have like, oh, let's exchange business cards. But what do? We got to go badass with it, right? We got to go nobody mountain style with it. Okay. Okay. So 5 free ways to promote your page. This is basically what everyone's going to do. Like a RIA will actually give out business cards or put a list of people, but that's not what we're doing here. This is much, much more than that. So here are 5 ways, the 5 main ways that this page was used. Again, you only got to this page, except for today, except for now, and except in the first video that I mentioned it, because then you might not talk to Anna. You might not know Anna or somebody Anna knows. But unless... up until then, you would only get to the page that way. It's the only, we never mentioned it. I made sure we didn't, and we put a tracker on there to know exactly how many new visits we were getting and exactly how many money calls we were getting from it. That's how we track all the stuff, money calls. A money call, when you start, it might be $500, might be $1,000, but eventually you want it to be like $5,000, $10,000, $15,000, meaning this is the minimum amount that you get from a call before you call it a money call. So 5 ways to promote this page. Once you start making this page, right, with whatever industry, and let's say real estate, you start making the page of private money lenders or making the page of property managers or making the page of whatever. Here's what you're saying, the exact dialogue we're using. So there's an email footer in every email that goes out. I'm making a list of the best private money lenders, the best contractors, property managers, title companies, attorneys, and tax people for Indiana real estate investors, for Indy real estate investors, ... And then the dialogue, this is also what you say. So we put that in the email footer. Then in the dialogue, we say with each of the conversations, hey, we say the same exact thing. Hey, by the way, every person you talk to 3 to 5 people a day, you say the same thing. All we do, by the way, this template is what we use for the special needs stuff, for the car deals, everything else. I'm making a list of the best people that for car deals. I make a list of the best people for, to create IEPs for special needs. It's the same exact dialogue, just replace the private money lenders. So we use that in the email footer. Every email that goes out, every text that goes out, every time we send out, you're wanting to send individual emails. Every time you have a conversation, we've talked about this, you should send an email with the 3 whys, all that stuff. Nobody's going to do that, but this is, so the first thing, email footer. Second thing is a dialogue. Every single conversation, whether you talk to an investor, a realtor, anybody, you say, hey, I'm making a list of the best private money lenders, the best contractors, property managers, title companies, attorneys for Indiana real estate investors. Is there anybody else you think would be a good person to list on that page, a good contact, or any other group of people? Like, what would help you the most? A good list of blank. What's something that comes up to your mind? You're asking for feedback, and then you're saying, well, do you mind checking that list out and sharing your thoughts, letting me know what you think I can do to improve? And everyone's like, yeah, of course I'll check it out. You send them that email, you send them that list, it's also in that thing. And then the most important thing, I'll talk about in a second, it's the follow-up, but it's how you follow up that's important. So that's done in all emails and all conversations with everybody. And then you only put people on your list who are asking to be put there, or people who asked for someone else to be put there. So it's the only way you get on that list, right? It's really important you keep it clean. Just like Google is so anal about keeping their results clean, you got to be the same way, because it's all about the UX, the user experience. So that's the dial. So there's 2 things here. First, that's the email footer. Second, that's the dialogue, right? And the third is that email that you send afterwards, right after you talk to them. Now, this would be number 4. Follow up and ask the best folks what you can do to send them more business. You want to do this constantly. So if you don't know, now you know. One of the top salesperson ever was Joe Girard for years. He was the #1 Guinness Book of World Records greatest salesman in the world. He's been beat by a guy named Ali Reza, which we've talked about. He was one of his top affiliates, was one of our heroes had worked with, and they developed what they called the best #1 referral script. So this is a referral script that is used by the #1 car salesman. This is their top performing, I believe it's still their top performing script on how they get the most referrals from any car dealer ever in existence, right? So here's that script. And we do the same thing with the public, because basically that was the original version, one of the OG versions, like the basic version of the public Rolodex model. So let's say you go in, you buy a car, and they say, whenever somebody comes in, we have kind of a Rolodex. We kind of have this giant phone book of all our past clients. So what would be an industry or a business or something that you would want to put in here? And so let's say you're a regular person, and you're like, oh, I don't know, I don't have a business or anything. Well, what would you want to promote? Do you have a brother-in-law, sister-in-law, something, any business, or maybe it's just your job? Whatever it is, we put that in there. They put that in there. So and then they give that out to everyone. Everyone gets an email of it. So basically, if you buy a car from them, you get this giant email, this like ebook that you can use. That's just a bunch of people that bought their car from the same place as you. Let me make sure this is on. I keep hearing that buzzing. So if you go and you buy a car, right? I don't know if this, okay, I don't know. Hopefully it's good. So if you go and buy a car from these guys, you get basically a Rolodex of all the other people that bought a car, and now you're kind of in the club. So when you call someone and say, hey, I'm a client of so-and-so, right, I bought a car from Ali, and it's a great job. Now, so that's pretty cool already, right? That you get this Rolodex, you feel special, you've got this little entry in there, a little phone book, right? That's pretty cool. Now, the next part is the most important part. What they do every single month or every 60 days, 90 days with regularity is you get a phone call. So let's say you bought a car from me and I'd say, hey, how's it going? My voicemail to you is, hey, how's it going? This is Oz. I say something specific about the weather or something that I sent you before. So it's not just a recording. Hey, it's Oz. How's it going? How's it going? I just want to give you a call. This May, this June, or, I know it's almost June now, or kids are getting out of school or whatever. And no need to call me back unless there's something I can do for you. But I just want to make sure that we put you're getting your information is in the Rolodex. I want to make sure you're getting enough referrals and that you're happy with that. If there's anything I can do to get you more referrals, please let me know, because that's, a top priority to me. I want to make sure I get you more referrals. Again, no reason to call me back. No need to call me back unless there's anything I can do for you. Basically, all I'm doing is following up and seeing, hey, how can I get you more referrals, right? So it's a GXM. The core of the GXM was when a homeless person offered me a spot on the vent, and I gave him money, and I gave him more money than I would have had he asked for the money to begin with. And it's this amazing concept that if you offer to give something, even if you don't have it, and you offer to give someone something, even if they don't want it, they end up giving you what you want and more of it than they would have given you if you had asked for it to begin with. So by asking referrals, instead of asking to get referrals, which never works, by the way, everyone knows that, but by offering to give referrals and going out of your way to make sure, because what happens if you've heard from your car dealer every 90 days, every 60 days, and he's like, hey, is there anything else I can do to help you grow your business? Is there any other way I can get you more referrals, right? Whenever somebody says, hey, I'm thinking about buying a car, you're like, you got to call this guy up, and so they've got more referrals from that than anything else. So this is exactly what you're doing in another version, a smaller version of that. Whenever you have the best people on your plate and your list, you want to call them up and constantly ask them what you can do to send them more business. Just call up 2, 3, 4, 5 random people. Even if you don't know it at first, you might not know who the best or most active people are, who's getting the most business. Although at first they will let you know, like, hey, I appreciate that. Someone called me from this. But give them a call and just say, hey, how's it going? I know you asked to be put on there. I want to see how that's going, how much business you're getting, how much referral business you're getting from that page, and what can I do to help you grow your business? Constantly ask them that question, because what happens then is when somebody says, oh, I'm looking for a good property manager, or I'm looking for a good, hard money lender or whatever, like, you know what? I got a page for you, because you're right. You're stayed on their top of mind, but you've also offered to constantly give them and constantly work on different ideas that can get them more referrals. This is also a great way that leads to things like, like crowdfunding and other deals too. Okay, so that's number 3. Number 4, thank all who suggest, use, endorse, and ask for improvements. Anytime anybody uses it, anytime anybody says they're going to the page, or anytime you hear about it, you immediately call up both people, the person who used it and the person who serviced them. Make sure that everything went great, it was smooth, and it was beautiful, and that if there's anything you can do to set it up. Last, send a thank you Indiana checkup letter to all the people anybody referred to, just making sure you got what you needed. This is basically the same exact thing as that previous email. So let's say a lender, we have a private money lender, for example, who gives that page out to pretty much everyone he talks to. He says, listen, if you're going to be buying property, you need a property manager, you need a contract, you need these people. Here's a page that we use. So anytime he sends that page out to someone, he also sends a little PDF, a little letter. And on that letter, it says, hey, how's it going? This is Indiana. Thank you so much for using our page. Want to make sure that you get what you want. So if there's anything we can do to send you more business or to make it better, to make your experience better on that page, please let me know. I want to make sure you get the exact answer that you need, the exact help that you need using that page. So what happens now is that page is going out to maybe 10, 15 people, a week, the last time we had checked. And they're also getting this letter saying, hey, how can we help you? How can we make it better? So these 5 things are what created this glue where this is your nobody mountain. If you don't know, this is what nobody's going to do. Maybe they'll exchange business cards. Maybe they'll put a list of people, but nobody's going to clean it this way and follow up this way. So again, these 5 things. Number 1, every email footer, I'm making a list of the best blank. Number 2, every time you have a conversation with anybody, mention that list that you're going to email it to them. You want to know, hey, 2 things. Number 1, who else should be on that list? And number 2, do you mind checking it out real quick and give me your feedback? And everyone's happy to do that. And also, what would make this indispensable to you, right? So you're just flat out asking them, what would make this, necessary for you? Like, what's someone you look up all the time, or something like, and all the people on that list came from that exact thing. Number 3, follow up and ask the best folks what you can do to send them more business, just like we talked about referrals. Number 4, thank everyone who suggested, everyone who's on there. Make sure you call them up, thank them personally, and send a thank you note. Write that thank you note ahead of time so that these people can send it out to anyone who uses it, right? Okay, share, confirm, repeat. This is the process we go through. You share the page, you confirm that they were helped, and then just repeat the process. So make the page so good that others use it, share it, and ask for it. Share it with everybody, and only put people on there who ask for it. You want to share it with everyone you talk to, every investor, realtor, everyone. Just constantly share that page. Follow up with people, make sure that they're helped, and they find it, and that they find it useful and or calibrate. Just keep repeating the process, ask for feedback, and keep focused on the fan base formula. Remember, the fan base formula is very simple. Make friends, keep in touch with your friends, help your friends. That's all you have to do with every business. Right now, we were just talking about the company that we've got, the human transhumanism company. That's all we did. It was just a basic GXM. Do those GXMs. You can broker JVs. You can do license agreements. You can set up MFMs, all kinds of stuff. It just starts with the basic process, man. I love it. Now, if you're a dickhead, you've forgotten everything I'm saying. You're not even paid. Well, how's she making $5,000 a week, $10,000 a week? How's that possible? Well, nobody's going to do what I just said, right? Even if you do like 10% of that, you're going to do more than what anybody else will. But then what happens, think about if you have all those pieces in place, which isn't that much, by the way. You're just making a list of people who you're contacting anyway, right? And then you're doing those 5 things. Email, telling everyone about it, following up with everyone who uses it, making sure everyone gets a thank you letter, also making sure that everyone on that page is actually getting referrals, actually getting business. If nothing else, it gives you an excuse to call people up and have more of a beautiful conversation. If you did all that stuff, I thought when I set this page up, get to the fucking point, Awesome. This is important, man. When I set this page up, I said, it's probably going to take a year. I've been doing this experiment with how can you set up one web page and make $1 million a year. That's like full disclosure. That's the whole purpose of all these different like one web page. And I thought if we did that Rolodex model like we did with Ali and help them sell the cars, but you could do that with any industry really, but you'd have to follow up with the people more and you'd get a tight relationship with your core, with your 77s. You'd get a solid relationship. How long would it take to make $1 million off that? And I thought, you'd have to get money calls, but you'd have to get money calls pretty much every week. What would it take to do that? Well, I've got the data on that. Okay, so how is she making money from this? This is the money that the deals that Anna's doing off this page. So every day we get about 5 new hits a day. This is totally different now that we talked about it because it went up to like 20 and 30 and 40 and the numbers got off. But when I'm talking about for the 5 or 10 grand a month, just from the internal, the few hundred people in the Indiana area, right? How is she making money from it? So there's about 5 new hits a day that all came from viral people sharing. Basically, the only way you'd get to that, the 5 hits, it wasn't people she sent because we tracked that differently, but it was people that other people sent. It was about 5 hits a day that were coming in. So somebody sent out 10 or 15 to different people, maybe 1 or 2 of those people are actually clicking through. So we've got 3 or 4 of those people sending out, 50 or 100, and like 5% of the people are clicking through. The bottom line is we're getting 5 new visitors a day, and it was all coming from people sharing. There's the only way you would get there is if somebody shared it with you. So of those people, that created calls and texts, about 1 to 2 money calls a week. So if you do the math on that, 5 people a day, so it's about 25 to 35 people a week. And from that, we're getting 1 to 2 money calls. There's more calls, but that's about 1 to 2 solid money calls that we're able to count on now. And a money call is about 5 to 15 grand, let's say 10 grand. 5 grand, I don't think we even call those money calls anymore, but let's say we include that 5 grand. That's how this is coming about to be about $5,000 to $10,000 a week now. And by the way, how would you shut it off even if you wanted to? There's no way, right? This is only going to grow. And I really think that this could get to, $100,000 a month. I think this could break $1 million this year, in the next several weeks, because it's only growing. The 5 hits a day is actually more now because we mentioned it, and the money calls is actually more now since the time we sat down and did this. And between now, we were saying we should change. I said, no, let's just leave it as it is, because this is really cool. This is, all the shit I said over before, that's the nobody mountain that nobody's going to do. Everybody wants this, though. Don't you want people just calling you up? Because think about what happens. If you're a private money lender, or let's say you're going to do a contracting deal, you're going to wholesale a deal, or you're going to rehab a deal, and somebody says to you, a property manager you're talking to says, oh, by the way, here's a page that I use. It's got hard money lenders, contract, all kinds of, architects and attorneys, or, accountants, all kinds of people. Here's a page I use. The first thing you're going to wonder is who came up with that page, right? And you can go to the page. She's got a note there, explains everything. But let's say you want more than just a contractor. You want also a private money lender. You want whatever. The obvious thing you can do is call her. You give Anna a call, and that's what's happening. People are calling her, being like, because you have instant authority, instant compliance from people, just because you're the one who came up with the page that somebody else mentioned. Do you get what I'm saying? So it's a pretty cool thing. These are really easy calls to have, because people are basically like, hey, what can I do to work with you? I want to work with you. I love what you guys are doing. So you have immediate positioning and authority from the get-go. It's all subtractive. It's 110% subtractive, right? You don't do anything once you get the machine in place, once you get the Nobody Mountain set up, and every time we're just doing the same thing now, keep going and have more and more conversations. So, this is a really cool thing, man. I'm really excited about this. I want to share with you, knowing that most of the people are not going to do a motherfucking thing, right? They're not going to do any of this stuff. But you guys are different. You guys are the smartest. There's for the we don't obviously we haven't done any kind of marketing for this channel or anything. You could go and tell 1,000 people about this, and 990 of them won't do anything. You are among that 10. You guys go out, make this happen. It's really easy to do. It's super simple. And this page, next time I make a video on this, it's going to be like $1 million or $2 million page. It's going to make $100,000, $200,000 a month pretty easily. And you don't do anything once it's set up. I love it. The next thing we're going to do is have some heroes actually start taking the calls. Because if you can do that, we're building in 2 or 3 other markets. We're building the same exact page, and we're just going to add to it. And it's really, I think, it's pretty cool, man. Setting up a page that makes $1 million a year. You could compare this to motivated seller page. That's insane amount of work. This is a lot easier. Okay, that's it. We're good? Good. All right, connect to the deep current. I've been talking about this a lot. The icebergs. You're reading about the icebergs. The icebergs, this is pretty cool. 1800s, what was it, 1800s that they came up, they first found the icebergs that are they take several days to swim around. They're huge. But these icebergs were going to, have I already said this? I don't know. It's such a cool, I've been really obsessed with this idea, because the icebergs are going against the current. They're going against the current. And they're like, how are these icebergs going against the current? Because these giant boats that we have cost, billions of dollars to build these machines and these motors and these rudders and these fans, these engines that go against the current, because the current out there in the ocean, especially, it's like the G-force is hundreds of miles an hour when you consider it. How are these giant icebergs with no machine going against the flow of the ocean and going against the current, against the waves, against the wind? How is that possible? And it wasn't for about 150 years that they figured it out in the 1970s with deep space, deep sea exploration, that they found what's called a deep current. And the current beneath the surface, the lower you go, the more powerful it is. And it's 10, 20, 30, 50 times stronger than the current at the surface. It's the current that it's tapped into. So if that iceberg, how big it is, it could be very narrow at that tip at the bottom, but if that tip is into a deep current, that current is magnitude stronger than the current at the top. So that iceberg can just go and do its own thing, go directly against the current, the waves, the wind, everything, because whatever's happened on the surface ain't no thing. It doesn't matter as long as you're connected to the deep current, because that's what matters. And when we were reading that, I thought that describes the best people among us, doesn't it? Just going along, whatever happens on the surface, what's messing with everybody else, it's controlling everybody else, doesn't make a difference to them. It's like a beach ball against a freight train. That's who you got to get connected to, the deep current. There is a lot of physics about this, by the way. The idea that there is a current, and we're all islands in this giant current. Dark matter, I've been talking a lot about this in the other class too, how you should look up dark matter. Imagine you were in the ocean, and she's like, okay, just imagine you're in the ocean, right? Or if you were in a swimming pool and you saw all kinds of shit floating around you, right? All stuff floating around you. I thought about this years ago when I was in the ocean. And there's something called claustrophobia, where you're afraid of scared small spaces, but there's also the opposite. If you're like not scared, but like you get this like anxiety type feeling of like giant spaces, being in the ocean, for example. I had that for the first time. I remember being in the ocean, looking down. This was in the Indian Ocean. And I looked down, and I shouldn't have been out there. There were like sharks and stuff, sharks hitting the boat. It was not safe at all. But I remember looking down thinking, what am I looking at? Like, what if you could see, because you only see like 4 or 5 feet below you, but what if you could see all the way down? Nobody would go in the ocean. You're basically like at the Grand Canyon. And if you look down, what you would see, I mean, it's like 2-3 miles down, right? It's just a crazy thing. But the whole thing of dark matter, what we know about our universe is less than 1%, because there's this other thing that's around us everywhere. We talked about like, 0 point energy, which I'm like obsessed with this, that there's enough energy in the tiniest space. Don't throw shit at me. I'm almost done. There's the tiniest energy in the smallest space that is enough to like boil all the oceans on the earth for like 1 million years. An insane amount of, I'm not making a joke. Is that what you thought? I wasn't making a joke. No, no. I haven't made one of my awful jokes this whole time. Too excited. I was thinking when I was talking about the tip being in the current, I was like, that's what she said. I wasn't going to do it. I didn't do it. I didn't go for it. I'm not going to go for the cheap joke. But okay, so this idea of 0 point energy, that there's the tiniest space has enormous amount of energy. But with dark matter, what's happening right now is we're studying more about just physics and the universe and stuff, is if you're in the ocean, imagine you're in a swimming pool, you're in the ocean, and what if you couldn't see the water? Right? That's what dark matter is like. You would see the ships floating there. You'd see other people floating there. You'd see islands floating around. But that's you wouldn't know what's holding them there. What are they floating on? If we had no way of seeing the water. The only way we have a way of seeing anything is by how it reacts to light. Dark matter doesn't react to light. It reacts to gravity. That's how we can see it with like black holes. It's like that's what dark matter is. It's all around us. There's 99 times at least more of that than there is of everything else that we see. But it doesn't react to light, so we don't know what it is exactly. But I say that for this reason. This whole idea of the GXM experience, the Great Experiments model, which we're going to talk about later, but the idea of doing good, that we're creating basically the first people to measure the effect of karma with the GXM, going out, just loving on people, making good things happen. And the idea of 0 point energy, or the idea of the deep current, tap it into this. It's around us all the time. Physics, quantum physics talks about this. Go look up dark matter if you want to get your mind blown. That it's this thing that nobody knows what it is, but we know it's around us everywhere. It's like we're all in the ocean, but we don't see the ocean. We don't see the water, right? We're like, we know it's there, but there's something, because we're all floating. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, the point is, connect to the deep current, connect to the universe, make beautiful things happen, make amazing things happen. You're going to be so thankful and glad that you did. Making a page like this is one of the coolest things ever. This, creating a page like bigria.com/people. Go there, like that people page, creating a Rolodex. You get to help people. You get to make things happen. You get to do deals. If I had known years ago, I've been asking this question a lot as I've been interviewing people, like, what would save you 10 years? This would have saved me 10 years. Knowing that all you got to do is connect people, make friends, spread goodness, spread love, cheer, and, optimism, and you make 5, 10, 15, 20 grand a month. Ain't no thing. It's like people just call you up, throwing money at you, and all you're doing is helping them. It's amazing. It's beautiful. Just like me, go to bigria.com. Do it now. All right, guys, I love you so much. Take care. We'll talk soon. Thanks.